أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد إخوة الإيمان السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
First and foremost, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gave us the opportunity to be in one of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May He make us among those who have gathered in the house of Allah, remembering Allah for the sake of Allah. May Allah accept that from us.
Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.
Before I proceed, on behalf of our community, we would like to thank the committee of this masjid and the community of this masjid and all the brothers and sisters who came here today to show their support for our father, for our imam, and for our sheikh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward each and every one of you abundantly. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. To proceed, my dear brothers and sisters, we are here to thank Allah for the blessing and for the gift that He has given to our sheikh and the addition to the ummah and to our community. Allah has blessed our sheikh with a daughter. Now, we all know the history, the tradition. Sometimes when Allah gives people children, they want to foretell, I want a boy, I want a girl. And the tradition in the Arabian Peninsula before was that if one of them was given a girl, they will be upset. They will not be happy. In fact, that was not enough. They will bury them alive. They will dig a hole and bury the girl alive. And in fact, it is happening up to now. I mean, in a different way. What happens is that when people are pregnant, they go for a test. And if it's a girl, they will terminate it. If it's a boy, they will leave the pregnancy. Is that not the same as what they used to do before, burying the girls alive? It's kind of the same thing. This is Jahiliyyah Thaniya, the second type of Jahiliyyah ignorance. But if we look at the beautiful example of Maryam alayha salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed her with the pregnancy, what she did, firstly she says, Rabbi inni nadartu laka ma fi batni muharrara fataqabbal minni innaka antas sami'ud du'a. Oh Allah, I have vowed to give to you what is in my stomach. I have vowed to give it to you. Oh Allah, accept it from me. Some countries, if you don't have a girl, it's like there's a curse in this family. Why is he not having girls? Or, if you're not having boys, there's a curse in the family. Why is he not having boys? They will find a way to blame. Or if you don't have a child at all, say, this woman is not good. Find another woman. It's not good. It's not having children. Is this in the hand of man? No. It is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He wants, He gives you boys. If He wants, He gives you girls. If He wants, He will mix them up. And for those whom He wishes, He will make them barren. They will not bear children. So therefore, lesson number one, children is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He gives them to whoever He wishes. And secondly, when people are pregnant, they should remember to make dua. Following the footsteps of Maryam. To make dua for the child from that stage until the child is born. And when the child is born, in fact, you increase the dua. Because as parents, we need to pray for guidance for our children. That's the second most important lesson. But then it comes to the third lesson. when the child is born. After the child has been born, we see again Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَكَفَّلَهَا زَكَرِيَّا وَأَنْبَتَهَا نَبَاتًا حَسَنًا. Zakaria looked after her and she brought her up in the best way possible. So which means the next step is, how do we bring up our children in the best way possible? That's the question. Especially in this time that we are living. When our children is surrounded by fitan, a lot of problems, troubles. They are surrounded with desires. They are surrounded by misguidance. So how do we protect our children from the shaitan? It means that we as parents, we need to be role models. Even before you have your children, you need to prepare your mind. Just like Maryam prepared herself for having this child and putting the child in the service of Allah, you should also prepare your mind to have your children. When you have your child, you make dua. That's step number one. Step number two, you should take practical actions. In your home, you should prepare that home to receive a child. The home should be a Muslim home. Not a Muslim by name, but a Muslim by practice. What do you watch in your house? What do you eat in your house? What do you play in your house? I have been a teacher in some Muslim schools for some time. And what we see is that sometimes parents, they take the action and say, I want to do something. They take the children, they put them in a Muslim school. But when do they do this? When the child has been very naughty in the state school, and the child is misbehaving, and so let's try and fix him. Let's take him to the Muslim school. Now, how can we fix this? The father smokes. The mother sits at home watching TV all day, whole night. The child is caught up in between this. Now, where is the example for this child to follow? What is this child going to look at as a good example for him to follow when he grows up? But tell me, my dear brother, my dear sister, the child grows up. Father gets up in the morning, reads Quran. At night, the father and mother worships Allah together. Father takes the child to the mosque, they pray together. And the boy grows up, or the girl grows up like this. Is this child going to be a servant of Allah? Or is this child going to be a child that is going to rebel? But some of us, the dunya has taken us away. We forget the children and we forget our responsibility towards the children. Some fathers, they have 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and they forget that their number one responsibility is their children. If a father is working, he goes out of the house 7 o'clock in the morning, and he comes home 10 o'clock at night, when does he have time to see his children? When? You never ask if this child has read Quran. Well, I have registered him at the madrasa, at the masjid, he's learning. But you never ask him. You never check him. The mother is too busy doing work at home. She cannot check as well. So when are we going to check on the children? What we have to remember, إِنَّمَا أَمْوَالُكُمْ وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ fitna. Your wealth that you are seeking and the children that Allah has given you, they are all trial for you. They are all trial. The money is trial because when we don't have it, we stress. It's a trial, isn't it? Poverty is not good. Nobody wants to be poor. But at the same time, you should not worship money. Because when you worship money, you become servant of the wealth. The wealth does not serve you anymore. You find money that serves you. You don't serve the money. When you serve the money, then it becomes danger. And so therefore, when we have children, or when we are planning to have children, or when we are planning to build a family, we should think at the back of our hearts, what kind of family do I want? I want you all to think about this. Some of us, we love sport. Some of us, we love other things. If I want my child to be an imam, what should I do for my child? If I want my child to be a doctor, what should I do for my child? If I want my child to be an accountant, what should I do for my child? Some of you like cars. There's a man called Lewis Hamilton. Do we know him? Some people know him, right? Some people don't know him. He's a racing driver. He won the racing, the Formula 1 championship. Right? But tell me, how did he become a world champion? How did he become a world champion? His father used to buy him cars to race as a child. And his father used to take him go-karting. He would race. He grew up in racing until today, he's a world champion. When we talk about footballers, most of our children like football. Do footballers just wake up one morning and become professionals? They take them to football academies, right? Parents, they pay a lot of money for them in the football academies. And they go through all the stages, and one day, oh, this big club has bought him this big money. But they forget the beginning, where he started. Likewise, if I want my child to become a doctor, a lawyer, a scientist, I would have to make sure that my child does his homework, that my child does very well in school, that my child goes to university, succeed, and become a professional. If I want my child to be a good Muslim, I also have to do the same thing. For him to be a good Muslim, I have to make sure he learns his Quran at an early age. Make sure your children learn Quran before they become teenagers. Because when they become teenagers, you are going to fight with them. When they are young, you tolerate them before the age of 7. Between 7 and 12, we try and teach them. At the age of 13 upward, we're going to negotiate with them. Because when you tell them, they say, why? You want to do something, you say, you can't do anything to me. What are you going to do? So therefore, the first stage, we can play with them and tolerate them. Little kids, babies before the age of 7. Whatever they want, we try and accommodate. But from 7 to 12, we must teach them. If we do not teach them after this age, we will fight with them after that. It's going to be a fight. So therefore, our primary responsibility is to be role models, good examples for our children. And secondly, have a roadmap for your child. This is what I want my child to be, and you help him to be that. If you want your child to be an imam, and you don't take him to memorize Quran, when is he going to memorize it? You just take him to Maulana and to the Sheikh and say, Sheikh, my son is here, make him Hafid. The Sheikh can teach your son, but the Sheikh cannot make him a Hafid. You make your son a Hafid, because you have to monitor him, you have to supervise him, you have to follow up what he's learning. This will make your child a successful child. The other important ingredient in making successful children is having successful partners. Successful partners, whether husband or wife. Sometimes we see beauty in the outward and we do not see beauty of the inner world. What do I mean by this? When we want to get our lifetime partners, let us find people who think like us, who will do things that will please us. If I am a Muslim who practices my deen, I pray 5 times a day, and I see a man who does not pray, and that man says wants to marry me, he says he's a Muslim, but he doesn't pray. Okay, I'm going to make him pray. He loves me, he will pray. But you know for sure he doesn't pray. And then the nikah takes place. After a few months, you start to squabble. Oh, he doesn't pray. I've told him so many times he doesn't pray. You're going to carry on fighting. Because in the first place, you failed the first test. I.e., you followed your desire, you did not follow the right step. I.e., you did not look for somebody who matched you properly. Likewise, a man, he wants his daughters to grow up as good Muslims. They pray, they wear the hijab, mashallah, they observe modesty. But then you go and find a sister that does not bother herself with hijab. You find a sister that does not bother herself with modesty. She will dress anyhow, she will talk to anyone, she will do anything. And you say, I'm going to try and teach her. I'm going to make her a good Muslim. Maybe Allah will give you the tawfiq. We are not saying it is impossible, but it is going to be challenging. And so if you have children in that kind of a marriage, what do you expect? Where do you expect your daughter to get good example from? Is it from her mom? You buy hijab for your daughter and the mom says, it's too hot. Take it off. You send your daughter to go to the mosque, mom will be complaining, I need my daughter to help me at home. You always send them to the masjid. Conflict of interest. So therefore, having the right partner will help you build a successful home. And let us not forget that the Prophet ﷺ has told us in the hadith, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلٌّ مَسْعُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. Each and every one of us is a shepherd, and each and every one of us will be asked for their flock. Meaning you are a leader in your home. Allah will not just ask you about your worship, your religion, your ibadah. He will ask you about your family's ibadah too. If your child is successful, alhamdulillah. But if your child, your wife, your family did not follow the path of Al-Islam, Allah will also ask you Yawm al-Qiyamah as a leader. And this is why the warning came in the Quran very clearly. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Save yourselves and your families from the fire. So Allah did not just say save yourself, but yourselves and your families. So if I pray 5 times a day, I fast in Ramadan, I go for Hajj, but it doesn't bother me whether my wife prays or my children pray, because I don't care, I don't want to know. As for me, I am praying, I'm fasting, but my family, no problem. So what would you say to Allah, Yawm al-Qiyamah? When He asks you about your family, about this trust that He has given to you. The children are regarded as an amana. It's a trust from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when this amana is given to us, we must fulfill it. We appreciate it. We cherish it. But then we do our obligation. By one, like we're doing today, do the Islamic obligations of the aqiqah, the circumcision, the teaching, the tarbiyah. We do this until when they reach adulthood, then we say, oh Allah, continue to guide them. We have done our own bit.